今天开始，今天是2019年5月25号。现在进入背单词。3个单词 ：investigate 调查研究 ，investigate
Investigate.
charity 慈善团体人资狮子 ，leathery 皮实的 ，leather 是皮革皮丝的。
Leathery.
当然有时候皮革般的坚韧，你也撕过皮、撕过衣服什么的，挺难撕的。它就是挺 investigate 调查。investigate， charity 慈善慈善上行其实我觉得差不多，是不是呢 ？leather 皮革的，皮革的 ，woven 的是这个charity 慈善 charity leather 皮革的，撕皮革的 invest OK。好，开始今天的阅读。好，看一下昨天的Miss Flores Handplant 调整他的 Mixed Ackroyd 给他了一笔巨额的财产，很多的20,000 pounds 让他洗窗外。然后这个小伙子就是 Dr. Shep 的人际，在 Miss Flores and Handplant 口中也并未得到比较有价值的证词。开始。
We found Mrs. Ackroyd in the hall. With her was a small man with sharp grey eyes. "Mr. Hammond is staying to lunch with us."
Mr. Hammond Mrs. Ackroyd 还买的是不是那个秘书啊？那个律师不是秘书
said Mrs. Ackroyd. "You know Major Blunt, Mr. Hammond? And dear Dr. Shepherd, a close friend of poor Roger's. And, let me see, this is Monsieur Poirot, Mother. I told you about him. He is going to find out who killed Uncle." Poirot went up to the lawyer and spoke to him quietly. I joined them, then hesitated. "Perhaps I'm intruding," I said. "Not at all," cried Poirot. "You and I, Monsieur le Docteur, we investigate this business side by side. I desire a little information from the good Mr. Hammond." "I cannot seriously believe that Captain Peyton can be involved in this crime," the lawyer said. "The fact that he was in need of money is nothing. It was a permanent condition with Ralph. He was always asking his stepfather for money." "Mr. Hammond, seeing that I am acting for Miss Ackroyd, you will not object to telling me the terms of Mr. Ackroyd's will?"
这里太快了，没读清，再来一遍。Mr. Hammond 就是亲爱的，但是是那个律师lawyer。Seeing that I am acting for Miss Ackroyd， 就是我现在来矫正这个 Miss Ackroyd。You will not object. You will not， 你将会反对。Object to 应该是服从，你先不服从，你先不告诉我 the terms of Miss Ackroyd， 这个 Miss Ackroyd 到底有多少遗嘱你不告诉我他的项目 terms of 条目现款就像这一个列了一系列的，比如说我的财产多少给多少，多少给谁，多少给谁。They are quite simple， 就是 quite simple， 就是 quiet 是提醒和一个 et 就一个安静的一个十分的普通。怎么来记呢？我是这样记的 ，quiet et 后面没有 e， 如果有 e 你也可以一般可以叫 s， 可以加 s 就说明它是复数，复数就多十分，我这样来记。
"They are quite simple. After paying certain legacies—" "Such as?" interrupted Poirot. £1,000 to his housekeeper, Miss Russell.
太快了。
£50 to the cook, Emma Cooper. £500 to his secretary, Mr. Geoffrey Raymond. Then to various hospitals. Poirot held up his hand. The charitable bequests, they do not interest me. Quite so. The income on £10,000 worth of shares is to be paid to Mrs. Cecil Ackroyd during her lifetime. Miss Flora Ackroyd inherits £20,000. Everything else, including this property and the shares in Ackroyd and Son, is left to his adopted son, Ralph Peyton. Captain Peyton will be a very wealthy young man. After lunch, the lawyer asked Mrs. Ackroyd, "Now, have you all the cash you need for now? If not, I can arrange to let you have whatever you require." "That ought to be all right," said Raymond. "Mr. Ackroyd cashed a cheque for £100 yesterday, for wages and other expenses due today." "Where is this money?" Hammond asked. "In his desk?" "No, he always kept his cash in his bedroom." "I think," said the lawyer, "we ought to make sure the money is there before I leave." "Certainly," agreed the secretary. "I'll take you up now. Oh, I forgot. The door is locked." A few minutes later, Inspector Raglan joined us and brought the key with him. He unlocked the door, and we went up the small staircase. At the top of the stairs, the door into Ackroyd's bedroom stood open. The inspector opened the curtains, letting in the sunlight, and Geoffrey Raymond went to the top drawer of a desk and took out a round leather box. Opening it, he took out a thick wallet. "Here is the money," he said, taking out some banknotes. "You will find the 100 there. Mr. Ackroyd put it in the box in my presence last night, when he was dressing for dinner." Mr. Hammond took the notes and counted them. He looked up sharply. "There are only £60 here." "But I don't understand it," cried the secretary. "It is very simple," remarked Poirot. "Either Mr. Ackroyd paid out that £40 some time last evening, or else it has been stolen." The inspector turned to Mrs. Ackroyd. "Which of the servants would usually come in here yesterday evening?" "The housemaid would get the bed ready." "I think we ought to clear this matter up," said the inspector. "The other servants are all right, as far as you know? Has anything gone missing before?" "No." "Are any of them leaving?" "The parlour-maid gave notice yesterday, I believe." "To you?" "Oh, no. Miss Russell deals with household matters." Poirot and I accompanied the inspector to the housekeeper's room. She said the housemaid, Elsie Dale, had been at Fernley for 5 months. A nice girl, and most respectable, with good references. "What about the parlour-maid?" asked Poirot. "She is clearly better educated than most servants."
那你看这个 quiet， 非常的文静和就是有点属于
"And very quiet and ladylike. An excellent worker." "Then why is she leaving?" asked the inspector. "I understand Mr. Ackroyd was very angry at something she had done yesterday afternoon, and she gave notice. Perhaps you'd like to see her yourselves?" Ursula Bourne came as instructed. She was a tall girl, with a lot of brown hair rolled tightly away at the back of her neck, and very steady grey eyes. "You are Ursula Bourne?" asked the inspector. "Yes, sir." "I understand you are leaving." "Yes, sir." "Why is that?" "It was my job to tidy the study, and I disturbed some papers on Mr. Ackroyd's desk. He was very angry about it, and I said I had better leave. He told me to go as soon as possible." "Were you in Mr. Ackroyd's bedroom last night?" No, sir. That is Elsie's work. I never went upstairs. I must tell you, my girl, that a large sum of money is missing from Mr. Ackroyd's room. Her face reddened. If you think I took it, and that is why Mr. Ackroyd dismissed me, you are wrong. You can search my things if you like. It was yesterday afternoon that Mr. Ackroyd dismissed you, or you dismissed yourself, was it not? Poirot asked. The girl nodded. How long did the discussion last between you and Mr. Ackroyd? 20 minutes? Half an hour? Something like that. Thank you, mademoiselle. I looked at him. His eyes were shining. Ursula Bourne left, and the inspector turned to Miss Russell. Have you got her references? Miss Russell moved to a desk and took out a handful of letters. She selected one and handed it to the inspector. He said. It seems to be all right. Her last job was at Marby Grange, Marby, with Mrs. Richard Folliot. Well, let's have a look at Elsie Dale. Elsie Dale answered our questions easily, and was very upset about the loss of the money. I don't think there's anything wrong with her, observed the inspector when she had gone. Well, thank you very much, Miss Russell. It's highly probable Mr. Ackroyd spent that money himself. I left the house with Poirot. I wonder, I said, what the papers Ursula Bourne disturbed were. They must have been important for Ackroyd to be so angry. The secretary said there were no papers of particular importance on the desk, said Poirot quietly. So why would he have been so angry with her? I had no answer.
在汉姆对这个故事为什么不会被剪到？因为它有很多剪刀一直在那附近剪。那平时狗看 suspicious about this bag. When you that are always in need of money. How much money was there in the quarterly pocket? 60 pounds. Why was Mr. Ackroyd angry at Archie Burroughs? She didn't tell his family. She had a bad attitude. She tapped some parts of the desk. Alright. 那今天就完了，大家现在看讲。Tom 啊，我叫 Thomas 调侃调味啊。Object to it 怎么说？反正做模式 object 啊，对呀，OB 的是表示反的意思。是啊，所以它就是鬼五分的意思。Be to do something 将要做某事，按计划来做某事。但这件事情做不了，没有做。Property 财产，私有财产，私有 property。Ackroyd and son. Have you all the cash you need for now? 你是不是需要把所有的东西兑现？你所需要的现金 ？Whatever 就现金 ？Whatever comes into my mind. I will say whatever comes into my mind. 什么进入我的脑袋了？我想到什么就是什么。I will say whatever comes into my mind. 这种对。Duty today 每日职责 ，due 不是现金支付的意思。Payout 支付。这个 payout 的这出现了好几次了，这是之前的了我就说，完了今天就这样。